Some people think that if aging reversing or like life extending technologies were developed, they might be available only to very rich people. And this would make the difference between rich and poor people even wider than it currently is, because then poor people would die at a relatively young age, but rich people would be able to live for hundreds of years and in good health. Obviously, this is a serious concern, but I think it's a concern about how these technologies or medical interventions should be distributed. If they were distributed as like normal health treatments are currently distributed by public health systems, then we wouldn't have any bad outcome in terms of equality, because poor and rich people will be able to access them in the same way, and they would be just like everybody would be able to get older. Some other concerns are about inequality, but with respect to future generations. So like if people just get older and older and the earth has limited space and resources for everyone, then we would need to stop reproducing at the current rate, or perhaps stop reproducing at all. And some people argue that this would be unfair to future generations because they would stop to exist altogether. So we would live in a society where at some point the number of people that can live is fixed, and maybe we could bring into existence a few more new people from time to time, but obviously it wouldn't be at the current rate, and that raises some questions about whether that would be fair to future generations. So I assume not everybody would want that, and obviously this kind of treatment wouldn't have to be mandatory. So if somebody wants to live for much longer, they should be allowed to use this treatment. At least this is my view. But I also think that we struggle with thinking that we would want to live for much longer, because we always make this implicit association between living for a very long time and aging. But imagine like living your life as a 20, 30-year-old forever. That sounds like much more fun. That's something you would want to do for much longer. And that maybe would change the attitude of a lot of people towards living for a very long time. Of course, this might not apply to everybody. And philosophers wrote a lot of books and papers about aging and arguing that we would get bored, we would get tired. So there is really no point in trying to extend the human lifespan. But I personally disagree with that view. I think that if we were able to keep our brain and body as well functioning as they are when we are young, we wouldn't really get very bored and very tired of living. We would constantly invent and find new things to do. I'm just not sure, I'm not really convinced by this argument that claim that life becomes boring after 100 years. I think it does now because we become old, but it wouldn't if we were staying young for so long.